conference championship weekend. We got a couple championships going on today, a couple championships tomorrow, but big slate today in college basketball. Ethan, how are you doing? I know we both are kind of having our troubles a little bit in college basketball. It's getting to that time of the year where it is March. March is in full swing, and we're seeing buzzer beaters, we're seeing underdogs, we're seeing the whole, which as a viewer is fun, but as a better is it's getting frustrating. So, how you doing? How you feeling about today? How's your week been? I know we haven't filmed in a while, but yeah, how you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. First off, apologies for not getting on this week. It's obviously just a busy time of year with basketball starting at like 11 in the morning and going all through the night. So, it's tough to find enough games to really hop on and get an episode out and start talking. I also got pretty sick on Tuesday. Was out of commission Tuesday, Wednesday. So, yeah, just not the greatest week. Also, I got completely beat up last year in conference tournaments. It still haunts me. So I've actually only made one play this year, and it was on Villanova plus 4.5 against Marquette, where they lost in regulation. I still don't know how they overturned that basket. Went to overtime. Tweeted right there and then, "Oh, this is how we lose." Nova, sure enough, lose by 6. So that's been my only play this entire conference tournament season so far. Don't even know if I'll get involved the rest of the time, but just I can't figure it out. And a play like that is just, I think the gambling god's telling me like you don't even want to mess around with this time of year. So, yeah, I'm doing well. I'm feeling a lot better physically from the sickness I had. Hoping my bets can start hitting not only in college basketball but everywhere else. I've had a rough week altogether, and really just looking forward to Sunday and next week starting up.
Snowman, what is up, brother? Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, it's yeah, we have selection Sunday tomorrow, so we'll figure out all the teams are in. Looks like Sparty's probably going to get in, despite what I do have to say about them. Michigan just fired Juwan Howard, so things are looking up for Michigan, believe it or not. Interested to see who they're going to pick up. Not really sure like the coaching candidates that are available. I have no idea. I kind of want like an FAU or a Utah State type of coach that just has killed it at the mid-major, as opposed to like picking up, I don't even know an example, Minnesota's coach, and that's not going to happen, but like something like that. But I'm excited to see the what they do for coach, because Juwan Howard was not it. Also, not to make excuses, but it's really hard to predict or film games the night before when the games are still going on. So, and that's just how tournaments go. We don't know who's playing until the game finishes, which makes filming the games difficult. So just fair warning for March Madness, bro. Talk about UConn. Fair warning for March Madness. We'll probably have a couple videos out before the tournament, and then maybe like after each round. It'll be pretty hard to get games out for each day. Talk about UConn. UConn is up in the Big East final. Marquette, UConn. This is the third time these teams are playing. I'm seeing UConn as a big old 9.5-point favorite. You got any lean in that game? It's really hard to fade UConn right now. They are an absolute wagon. I took Xavier against UConn in round 1 plus 15. Xavier was up by 15 at one point and lost by like 40. Of course, didn't take UConn against, I believe, Providence. Is that who they played the last game? And of course, Providence covered. But yeah, it's really hard for me, at least in my experience, to bet a team that has played a team for the like third time. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to handicap that. With that being said, 9.5 points seems like a lot. So I would lean at the moment Marquette, but I'm not sold on Marquette at all. And I think UConn's the real deal. I think Marquette might be on upset watch come tournament time, actual tournament time. But 9.5 points seems a lot for a team that's played each other 3 times, or it's going to play each other 3 times.
Yeah, I'd have to lean Marquette. UConn looks pretty public here, and we were talking before the show. At this point, I think fading the public is kind of the best route that I can really go here. I just don't know how much UConn really cares. Like, they're so locked into their position right now that it doesn't matter if they lose this game whatsoever. It's the last game of the tournament, so I guess it doesn't matter. You're done after this game anyway, so I guess they could show max effort, but I don't know. It's so tough to judge effort. Like, do they want this for their resume, just for, the program and the school, or do they want to save some energy and, just start kind of prepping for next week? I just don't, it's tough to decide here.
Yeah, I can't see UConn losing. So I think if you want to add UConn on a money line, again, it's probably not smart to take any big old parlays, especially in tournament time. But I have a hard time seeing UConn losing this game. With that being said, 9.5 points again is a lot on the spread. So that just a tricky line by Vegas. So yeah, that's again one of the finals we have today. That was the Big East, Marquette, UConn. Let's move on to probably the biggest game, in my opinion, seeding wise, not in regards to worth or matter, but we have the Big 12 final today against Iowa State and Houston. These two teams are once again playing for the third time. I believe they have split. Slimy, thank you for hopping on too. I appreciate it, brother. Bryant, what is up, my man? Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Well, chat going today. So we're on to the Big 12. Houston, Iowa State. Again, I believe these teams have played twice and they have split. Iowa State won the first matchup 57-53. Houston won the second matchup 73-65. I'm seeing Houston is a 5.5 point favorite. Houston's been dominating the tournament so far. I mean, they just absolutely destroyed TCU. I know it was only 60-45, but just an absolute defensive performance. Just beat up on Texas Tech by 23 points. I kind of want to take Iowa State, but again, I just don't know. This game doesn't matter to either team. I know Houston won the regular season Big 12. This is an opportunity for Iowa State to, I guess, win the Big 12 tournament and have that little, is that even a banner that they get? I don't know, but I guess it always matters, but in regards to the actual tournament, this means absolutely nothing. So I guess I'm going to take Iowa State on the spread is kind of where I'm leaning on that one. Do you have a thought?
Yeah, it's probably my favorite play of the day. I like Iowa State. I think they win it. Iowa State was my pick from the jump to win this tournament, so I'm gonna just keep backing it. I love Iowa State. I have a 30-1 future on them to win the whole thing. Yeah, I really like their style of basketball. They match up really well with Houston. Like you said, split already this year. Houston is a little bit better, obviously, than Iowa State is, but I just think the matchup is there. Think Iowa State probably cares a little bit more. 5.5 points. Just think it's a touch too many. It's probably a one possession game ultimately in this one. So, I mean, Houston does have that blowout capability against literally every single team out there. I mean, they could probably blow out UConn if they played, a completely sound game. But yeah, I like Iowa State to win this game outright. That might be my one bet of the day. I really do like Iowa State.
Okay. I like it. I was leaning Iowa State on the spread. So, yeah, I like it. I've kind of got a little too into round robins. I discovered those on DraftKings. Biggest scam out there, but I might mess around with that today. Yeah, I like Iowa State.
I
Let's
also
move on.
quick have
Go
to
ahead.
jump back to the Big East. I should know this, but Tyler Kolek, is he still out?
He's out for the conference. He's going to be back for the NCAA.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah, I mean, Marquette without him is kind of not
and that
great.
kind of just shows because I think he can play. It's like a back strain or something. Like it's nothing serious. Like it's an oblique strain. So like I'm sure it's not like the biggest
It's
deal.
not an academic thing.
Well, that was part of it, but then he got injured in one of the later
Gotcha.
games. So
I got you.
yeah, he can play. That just kind of just shows, in my opinion, where this game is on importance to both these teams. Like it's just
Right.
a game that's in the way between now and March Madness. Let's move on to the ACC final here. NC State has kind of surprised everyone when they face off against North Carolina today. Seeing North Carolina just like that UConn line is a 9.5 point favorite here. I don't like NC State at all. I don't know. I try to bet against them. They win. I bet on them. They're the worst team I've ever seen. Their big man pisses me off like no other. He either has one of the greatest games in the world or he's just absolute dog water. But again, NC State, do you know where they rank on the bubble, on the bracketology? Are they in? Are they border?
They have to win. And if they lose, they're not in. So And I think North Carolina is locked into a 1 seed after Tennessee's
Ooh,
loss.
in North. Yeah, I mean, see, like things like that, like this means nothing to North Carolina, means everything for NC State. NC State just coming off that overtime thriller against Virginia, where they had that what was it, half court buzzer beater to tie it. Um, yeah, I mean, 9.5. I don't know. They've played twice this year. Again, their third meeting today. They lost the first game away, or sorry, the second game away, 79-70. Lost the first one at home, 67-54. Again, I have a hard time seeing North Carolina losing, but again, that added motivation of NC State win and get in mentality. North Carolina doesn't really have anything to play for except the tournament banner. But again, they've already won the regular season ACC. I don't know, man. I would lean just on a motivation standpoint. I'd lead NC State to cover. Um, I doubt they win, but that would be a great story if they did.
Yeah, for Sparty's sake, I hope they don't. I think Sparty is locked in, but I mean, if NC State wins, if Oregon wins, if Temple, I think, or whoever's playing FAU, yeah, if Temple wins, there's 3 teams getting in that weren't supposed to. I mean, it's just a little too shaky for me at this point. So I really want North Carolina to pull it out. Also, just have to say, obviously, Michigan State gets the whole like March. They're the team that does well in March or whatever. NC State is like kind of a quiet, similar team. I feel like they're always making noise this time of year. I know some years they've made the tournament as 8, 9, 10, 11 seeds. They've made a run to the Sweet 16, Elite 8. I know they upset Louisville probably close to 10 years ago now as a low seed, or maybe got close to upsetting Louisville. I can't quite remember, but I don't know. I feel like NC State is always just hanging around this time of year. So I would have to take NC State with the points. I just think, they just covered a couple weeks ago. Last time they played, they were just outside of covering the first time around. I think they care way more this time. North Carolina cares less. Can I bet it? I don't know. I have 10 boosts that I have to use, so probably. But, God, I hate conference tournaments, man.
Yeah. So that wasn't extremely helpful. Again, I think NC State's probably the play. And I know I haven't looked at the betting splits on that game at all, but knowing that if
North
NC State
Carolina's
wins,
public.
are they? I was going to say maybe NC State would get a little bit public money just for, that mentality. But if North Carolina is public, I would definitely lean NC State then. That puts I think NC State's unfortunately the play. Another game where means everything in regards to tournament future. The Pac-12 finals is today. We have Oregon who just upset Arizona against Colorado. Ethan, you think Colorado is in? I still think Colorado's on the bubble. Oregon obviously needs to win to get in. Also a game for you Michigan State fans that I think you want Colorado to win. Because again, if Oregon wins, there might be some possibility that Colorado gets in, which having 4 Pac-12 teams this year is a joke. And that definitely helps or hurts other bubble teams. But I only think one team's going to get in. I think the winner's going to get in. I think the loser's going to get left out. This game is only a 2.5 point spread in favor of Colorado. Let me pull up recent games here. Colorado just beat Oregon the beginning of March by 4 away at Oregon, and then they beat them by 16 at home. So Colorado's 2-0 against Oregon. But again, that added motivation of winning get in for Oregon, could that possibly sway them to cover or win the game? I kind of like Oregon. I'm going to lean Oregon in that game. I don't like Colorado at all. I'm not sold on Colorado at all. They had an easy path to get there, in my opinion. Washington State as a 2 seed is a joke. Oregon had to take down Arizona, who my future on Arizona is looking crappier and crappier by the moment. Obviously, this game meant nothing for Arizona, but they got knocked out of the 1 seed. They're a 2 seed now, most likely. We saw it happen last year as a 2 seed for Arizona, knocked out by Princeton in the first round. They just had not ended the season the way I wanted a team that I bet a future on to end the season. But with that being said, Arizona is much better than a really fraudulent Washington State team. So I'm going to go with the momentum, and I'm going to take Oregon to win that game. And if you want to play it safe, cover the 2.5. But I think they win outright.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, I mean, I need Colorado to win just to feel a little bit safer about Sparty. Um, I'm by no means a bracketologist. I just follow a lot of them. So I have seen, like last night, one of the main guys that I pay attention to locked in Colorado as a tournament lock. So that's really what I'm basing that off of. That's none of my own research whatsoever. Um, but yeah, that does give me reason to believe Colorado is in. So really can't have Oregon winning this game. I'm kind of a touch of an Oregon fan. I mean, I pay more attention in football than I do basketball to them, but I've watched a few of their games. Kind of follow it along with their season. They're just not that good. So I just don't trust them here. I think Colorado, um, probably, I guess there's no way of really saying you're a lock at this point, uh, as far as where Colorado is. So to them, I think they're still thinking this is a must-win game. Really just to obviously get that auto bid to the tournament. So I think we get a big effort from Colorado. I think they're ultimately way better. And I think it's just kind of an underdog story for them. And I don't know, they've made some noise. I just don't think it continues. So I kind of like Colorado to pull away.
Yeah, the more I'm looking at this, the more I think Oregon might be the team that's frauds. Colorado is number 23 on KenPom, so they're top 25 on KenPom, which I did not know. They're 24-9 on the season too, which also, again, I've not been paying attention to the Pac-12 this year because again, they are, in my opinion, the worst Power Six conference by far. But yeah, they beat Utah, who both those teams were bubble teams prior to the tournament starting. They just beat Washington State, who was a 2 seed, like I said. God, yeah, I think I'm gonna flip. I think I'm flipping to Colorado in that game. Apologies for the confusion, but I'm just looking at Oregon. I just don't think they're it. Um, I mean, yeah, beat UCLA in the first round by 2. The big win over Arizona, but again, does Arizona care? I don't know.
And
Arizona didn't
Arizona's
care.
had a ton of tough losses down the stretch.
I know. It's like
Just
I
a
don't know what
ton.
they're doing.
I don't either because I have a future on them too. And yeah, lost to USC. I guess the Washington State wasn't bad, but they got swept by Washington State. Yeah, I guess it wasn't as many as I thought, but Oregon State.
It's still not a great end. That's not how
No,
you want a potential 1 seed to finish there, especially against a terrible Pac-12. Apologies to all
right.
Pac-12 fans out there. You guys are usually a phenomenal basketball conference, but this year with UCLA, USC being trash, it's not helping. And those are usually, UCLA is let's be honest, is your blue blood, and them
Yeah.
sucking this year is tough.
I mean,
Um,
even Oregon's been good for years and
right,
not last year, but
right. Yeah, so I think I'm flipping to Colorado. I think that just became, it is crazy how quick my opinion flips. But that's great. I think that just became my favorite play after originally like an Oregon, literally 5 minutes ago. So that just
yeah.
shows you where my confidence level is at. Um, let's get to the final power. I'm going to call Power Six, including the Mountain West and the Big East. The final Power Six game today with a championship, and that is the Mountain West. And we have New Mexico against San Diego State. I do have a pre-tournament future on New Mexico to win it at plus 750. So would love for that to happen. Again, I thought the
Damn.
Mountain West had the best odds because that conference is, I mean, every team it seems like is one game apart. And San Diego State was like plus 200, and I wasn't going to bet that. Everyone else was like plus 450 and above. So I sprinkled Utah State, Colorado State, New Mexico. Unfortunately, I believe Utah State lost to San Diego State last night. Almost had a sweat-free conference championship, but yeah, I like fading teams just like I liked fading FAU this year. I like fading teams that made it far last year, and I just don't think San Diego State's the team they were last year. And I know they made it. Was it the championship game? And I know they made it there, but I'm not sold on them. And New Mexico, I think, has all the momentum. So I'm going to lean New Mexico. I'm going to take them. Actually, I probably won't take them since I have a future on them, but I lean New Mexico in this game, and I'll be rooting for them pretty hardcore. Let me quickly check the matchup. They lost to San Diego State by 11, and that's the only time they played. So they only played, they beat them by 18. Beat them by 18, then lost by 11. So that's zero helpful. I just like how New Mexico State's playing. So I'm going to lean New Mexico State.
I think I lean San Diego State, but not enough to get there. And I'm really only basing that off of just past experience. They've been there before. It depends, because I think New Mexico is in the tournament. But do they know that? I don't know.
Does anyone know anyone?
Right. If they know they're in the tournament, then they probably don't, though. They probably think they need this. But also, what's this do for San Diego State? Like, I don't know enough about where San Diego State is being seated. Is this going to bump them from I don't even know, like a 7 to a 5? Probably not. No, 7 to a 6.
San Diego
I don't know.
State. Let me look up bracketology real quick. ESPN's BS. Last I saw, I thought San Diego State was like an 8.
It could be. They're not super good.
They're a 5, according to ESPN bracketology, updated at 10:30 a.m. this morning. They have San Diego State as a 5, but they gave them the AQ as automatic qualifier, so that's if they win.
Were they a 5 last year?
Yes. Where's New Mexico? I'm going to guess New Mexico is probably a 9-10 would be my guess, but I haven't seen them yet.
I bet they'd be closer to like a 12. Now that'd be interesting. 5-12 matchup, San Diego State, New Mexico, first round.
They have Utah State as a 7. Nevada as a 7. FAU for future knowledge as a 8. They have them in the play-in game against St. John's as an 11.
Okay.
So if they have them at a play-in game, it sounds like this is still kind of not a must-win, but a win would go a long ways. Maybe could get them out of the play-in.
Right. Oh, man. I'm not touching that game. I'll root for New Mexico for your future.
Yeah, let me see if I got that future locked in. Again, I was on my bookie odds, so it's not as great. Fuck. Plus 650, but still.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Any inkling to hedge on that, or you going to ride?
I'm just riding. It was literally $5 to win whatever that is, 35.
Okay. I'll root for that for you.
What other future do my futures have been absolutely smoked. Let me look at them real quick. I had Michigan State. I do have Nebraska that's still live, so we'll get into the Big Ten next. But I do have Nebraska at plus 750. Providence almost squeaked by, but did not. And all I have is Nebraska left, unfortunately.
Okay.
I had South Carolina. I thought that was way too good of a value, and it was because they got destroyed once again by Auburn. I can't get a read on South Carolina. Are they the most fraudulent team? Every time I think they're frauds and I bet against them because I know they're frauds, they cover and they win and they make me look like an idiot. And then I bet them because they lost out. Auburn by 40 this year. I was like, okay, they're a 5-point underdog. Yeah, but they just lost by 40. Give me some. It turns out they're frauds. They lost by 30. Like,
I think I'm like 0-5 betting South Carolina games. Literally can't hit. Also, though, I do have to say, I'll toot our horn here because we called this a long time ago. When Oklahoma was sitting at like a 15 seed, and we said on this show, they might go on a terrible run and they might not be safe to make the tournament. Boom. Oklahoma's a bubble team, not even guaranteed in this field.
I think they're out. I mean, they've done nothing.
I'm just going off those guys I follow on Twitter. I think they're like just a notch below Michigan State. So I think Oregon would have to win. Temple or someone not named FAU would have to win that conference, and then I think who else? The team we just talked about, North Carolina State.
Oh, North Carolina State.
I think like two of those teams would have to win to really put Oklahoma in much danger, but
I would love for them to, because then I'm going to clip that and make us look like absolute geniuses. Don't clip the rest of our show because we've been wrong way too many times. But yeah, I think they're frauds still. I still think they're
Oh,
frauds.
they're horrible. They're not getting out of the
Um,
first round.
yeah, there are a couple fraudulent teams out there. I mean, obviously Virginia.
Yeah.
I think South Carolina. The problem with South Carolina is they're a great March team because they have phenomenal player. I forget his name, but he's lights out. That dude could score 40 points a game, and that is literally the recipe for success in March. Having one absolute stud just go off. The amount of times we've seen that happen, it's crazy. I mean, Carson Edwards, Steph Curry, that guy from K State
Doug
last year.
Edert. Oh yeah.
Um, the
Marquise
little
Noel.
guy. Yeah, all it takes is one dude, and Jimmer Fredette. Kemba, like whatever the guy, but Shabazz Napier. It just
Yeah.
takes one freaking dude, and have them have a hot weekend, and Final Four. So
Yep.
that's what scares me about South Carolina. And I forget his name, but he's a lottery pick. He's unreal. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I just pulled that out of my ass, but he might be a lottery pick. Let's finish on the Big Ten, but let's go to the SEC. Two semifinals games. So those are all the finals. Again, if you have questions about the games we just talked about, feel free to comment. We don't have anything on the mid majors really today. If you do have a question on those, feel free to ask us, and we'll try to give you our best breakdown of that game. Let's go to the SEC. We have Mississippi State against Auburn. Auburn is a 7.5-point favorite in this game. I love Auburn. I have a future on Auburn to win it. Not the SEC, but the actual tournament. I have them at plus 2,000, plus 2,200 to win the championship. I love Auburn. I think they're a loaded team. With that being said, Mississippi State, again, I'm not sure how the bracketology is working out, but Mississippi State is one of those border teams. And I know they had a good win. Who they just beat? They just beat Tennessee yesterday, destroyed Tennessee by 17 points. So I think Mississippi State's going to get in. But again, who knows with any of these teams? And Auburn is an absolute wagon right now. I want to take Auburn, but I'm seeing them. They're a very public team. The line's kind of, from what I'm looking at, has had a little reverse line movement on this. So I think I'm going to lean Mississippi State on the spread. Again, I think I'm going to take Mississippi State on the spread. I'm not going to second guess it. I think that's the right play, so I'm going to stay with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at Auburn. I also have a future on Auburn. I'm trying to find here what I got them at, but I basically think Auburn, coasted to that victory against South Carolina, didn't have to put in a big effort. And I think Mississippi State, they coasted as well, but I think they're just coming a little overconfident in this one. I think the line is probably skewed a touch. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say that with Auburn literally blowing the doors off of South Carolina, but Mississippi State with a almost 20-point win against Tennessee. I mean, that's just a huge win for them. So I don't know. I can't bet that spread, but I would lean Auburn. I think they're way better. Didn't have to put in a huge effort yesterday, so slight lean on Auburn.
Yeah,
Trying to find my Auburn future. I don't know what book that's on.
They did split regular season. Mississippi State won the first matchup at home, 64-58, and then Auburn won the second matchup, 78-63 at home. Yeah. See, I wish bracketology was more black and white, but you would think with that blowout win of Tennessee, who is obviously, they won the SEC regular season. Tennessee is potentially a 1 or 2 seed. That would give Mississippi State a bid. I just don't know if that's true. I have a feeling that it is. I mean, Auburn's a much better team, let's be honest. I love Auburn. I think Auburn has everything in their team, in their chemistry to make a tournament run. Again, that's why I put a future on them. But I don't know. It's such a tough game. That game's, again, it's probably a good idea just to stay away from that game. Will I? Probably not. But that's a very tough game to bet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have a 16-1 on Auburn. Just found.
Nice.
Might lay more on them. Kind of like them.
Are they still around there? Or are they higher?
Let me go check. On ESPN bet, Auburn is 18-1.
Ooh. Okay. You can double down a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah, they have the Ken Palm efficiency as well. They are 5 defense, 10 offense. One of the few teams that are top 10 in both. I think maybe the only team. Arizona was. I don't know if they are anymore. Just keep that in mind as well. All right, the second game of the SEC, Texas A&M and Florida. Again, Florida's on my good graces. They won yesterday with my last $40 and put it all on them. Texas A&M just beat. Let me remember here. Just beat Kentucky. Actually had Texas A&M in that game. One of my other winners at the +6 yesterday. Kentucky. I don't know how to feel about Kentucky in the tournament. They're one of those weird teams. Honestly, the whole SEC is very difficult in my opinion. A lot of offense, not a whole lot of defense, or the Pac-12 of college basketball, which is great, but also terrifying for tournament runs if you're shooting bad and you don't play defense. Yeah, that's a bad recipe. Yeah, I'm going to send it to you first. See if any leans in this game. See, Florida's a 3.5 point favorite.
The one thing I will say, Florida probably scares me more than any other team to play Michigan State because they would just absolutely out physical Michigan State on the boards. And that game would just be so ugly. But in this matchup, God, I don't know. I think I would lean Florida here. I think Florida's better. Again, I think Texas A&M is kind of off a win that not many probably expected. Feeling pretty good about themselves heading into this one. Yeah, I don't know. I just think Florida has that. They're so hit or miss, Florida. They play really good. They could beat anybody. And then they have those bad games where they lose to Vanderbilt at the end of the season. Yeah, I think Florida is probably the play for me here.
I also think this is one of the, besides the Big 12, Big East, this is one of the few games we've talked about where we have two teams that are sure in, and that is A&M and Florida. Both these teams are, in my opinion, 100% in. Texas A&M did win the regular season game, 67-66, surprisingly low game, which makes me feel like Florida had a terrible shooting night. Yeah, I think Florida's going to get their revenge. That's the only time they played. I'm going to take Florida. I want to take them on the spread, but I'll probably just I'll probably just take a money line to be safe. But I think Florida's going to win that game. I know they just beat Bama, but again, Bama 0. I don't know. It was a good win, but I think Florida's going to be a little too much. I like Florida. I honestly like Florida to win the SEC. Auburn, Florida will be a great matchup, and that will make me feel better about potentially my Auburn bet to see if Auburn actually wins or blows them out. But I want to see that matchup, so I'm going to take Florida for anticipation of that future matchup. But again, I think Florida's a better team. I think A&M, in my opinion, has a little bit of fraudulent tendencies. Again, a couple bad losses for them. They lost both games to Arkansas, lost to LSU, lost to Vanderbilt. I know Florida did as well, but I don't know. They don't seem like they are the Texas A&M of years past. They seem like they lack a little consistency. So yeah, I'm gonna go Florida in that game.
Yeah, I like it.
And then that brings us to our conference, the Big Ten. 2 semifinal games today. The first one is starting in 55 minutes, and that is Purdue, Wisconsin. I'm seeing Purdue as a 5.5 point favorite, 5.5. This is, again, the third time these teams are playing. Purdue, let me pull them up. I believe won both games. Where'd they go? Where are they? Yes, Purdue won both games 75-69 and 78-70. Wisconsin just coming off a murdering of Maryland, which was a Wisconsin team that I have not seen in a long time. They beat Maryland by 31 points. Wisconsin just beat Northwestern by 9 points. Northwestern is probably a play-in team now that I'm looking at it as well. 10-seed or a play-in team for Northwestern. Now they play Purdue again. Purdue coming off a win against Michigan State. Gritty win. I think the refs had money on Purdue. Thankfully, Michigan State covered that game. But that was, thank God I was not a fan of either team. I can't imagine how you were feeling in that game. Those refs were calling everything and then nothing at the same. One of the worst officiated games I've seen in a long time. That was terrible. Anyways, Purdue. I'm gonna go with Purdue. I think they're gonna cover the 5.5. I think Wisconsin has been playing great in the tournament, and I hate betting teams that are looking good, but I think their hot streaks is going to be a little too left, too not enough. Wow, not enough for Purdue. So I'm gonna take Purdue. I think they're going to cover in that game.
Yeah, first to touch on yesterday, I'm just very thankful that game probably didn't mean too much. So I was able to take a step back a little bit, but yeah, the officiating was goddamn. I'm so tired of watching Edey just get fucking touch fouls against him every time he touches the ball. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, that was really bad. The offensive foul on Malik Hall too at the end of the half was just I don't know. That game was
There was what's Lance for Purdue, whatever his name is. Every
dude.
time he fell to the ground, it was an offensive charge. It was just charge.
I have not seen as many charges this entire basketball season as I saw against Michigan State yesterday. I think there's 5. I think they called 5 charges.
And there's one where there was a blatant foot in the
yes. Oh my god. Which would have sent him to the line. Yeah. I'm just glad they kept it close. If that somehow comes back and bites someone, keeps them out of the tournament, it won't, or I won't say that. It shouldn't. But yeah, that was horrible. I like Wisconsin. My main reason here is we saw Braden Smith go down for Purdue yesterday. It seemed really serious at first. Initial thought was a torn ACL from my end. Turns out it was just a little calf strain, I guess. He was fine, just being a little bitch like most Purdue's players are. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I think that put a little fear into Purdue, thinking, why are we really playing all hard here? Let's just save it for the tournament. I don't know. I just don't think they really care. I think Wisconsin cares more. Also, this is extremely stupid, but this is how my gambling brain works. I see a boost right now for Purdue and Auburn, each to cover -2.5. I really like Auburn to cover 2.5, which leaves Purdue as the odd man out.
Yeah,
so
it's caked. God damn it.
So I don't know. Give me like a 10-unit play on Wisconsin, I guess.
Wisconsin +2.5 is a lock.
Yep.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. If you need any betting advice, just go on DraftKings, see what they're boosting, and take the opposite. Yeah, I mean, you got a good point. I didn't realize Braden Smith was first team All Big Ten.
Dude, he shouldn't. This might be my Michigan State bias coming through, but that has everything to do with Zach Edey and nothing to do with Smith. I mean, Edey just opens up the floor for him, but if you put Tyson Walker and Braden Smith 1-on-1, first to 21, Walker probably wins by double digits. I mean, he's way better.
Yeah, and again, that knee was weird. I don't know what that was. My guess, after seeing the replay, it looked like it just a hand on, like maybe like a dead leg. I don't know. It was something weird. It looked like he just hit him on his knee, maybe a slight hyperextension. I don't know. And I couldn't find his injury status. I saw he's injured. I don't know if he's playing.
He came back and played yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said it was a calf. It wasn't even his knee. So
okay.
I think he's fine, but
okay.
I don't know. He struggled after that, traveled twice. If I were Purdue, I'd sit him, but that's just me.
Yeah. Tough game. All these games are tough, let's be honest. And let's finish off our slate with the other Big Ten semifinal game, Nebraska, Illinois. Again, I have one of my 2 futures remaining in conference tournaments is Nebraska. They just destroyed Indiana, which I think is overreacted because Indiana's best player was out. But again, like if Nebraska's hot, they can beat just about anyone. I believe Nebraska already beat Purdue this year. Yeah, I believe they did. Yeah, they beat Purdue this year. I mean, Nebraska's just, I don't know how they're good. I don't think they know how they're good. They have that little Japanese guy that's just unreal. I think Illinois is going to be too much for them, to be honest. I think Illinois is just, they're just the better team. They have by far the better athletes. I know Nebraska has a couple sharp shooters, but just man on man, Illinois is the better team. So I'm going to be rooting for Nebraska. I probably won't have skin on this game unless it's like Illinois money line, but I'll be rooting for Nebraska. But I think Illinois is honestly going to take care of business.
I like Nebraska.
We are not seeing eye to eye today.
We're not, which welcome to conference tournaments, I guess. Here's my sole reason for Nebraska. I think of legitimately every team playing today. Maybe outside of like Oregon and NC State, the teams that really need these wins. I think Nebraska wants it more than anybody else. I mean, there's kind of a no-name basketball program as of the last 20 years, maybe even 30, that are making some noise in March. They're locked into a pretty solid tournament seeding for March Madness. And I just think they care way more. Illinois has been here, done that. They've been in the tournament year after year after year, similar seeding. They're always like a 3, 4, 5 seed. I don't know. Just don't think Illinois really cares. Big Ten and SEC are a little bit different. And I think maybe a couple other conferences where they're only in the semis, they're not in the finals today. So I think honestly it would do some of these teams, say Illinois and Purdue, maybe better to take tomorrow off. Just get seated where you're already going to be. I mean, Purdue obviously is going to be a 1 seed, so I really just don't think they care whatsoever. Illinois is probably pretty close to locked in where they're at too, unless I guess if they won the whole thing. But yeah, I just think Nebraska just cares way more than really anyone else playing today.
I completely agree with that. Do you know who won the Big Ten tourney last year? Was it Purdue?
Illinois. No, it was Purdue.
It's Purdue. Okay.
I think. It was one of those two. Yeah, I think Purdue.
Okay. Well, we got ourselves quite the slate. Again, if you guys have any other comments or questions about games, let us know. We are going to wrap it up pretty quickly in the next couple minutes here. Games, thankfully, today are starting at 1, not 12. So we got 45 minutes until the games kick off. Are there any other games on the slate you're looking at? I know we just talked about the Power Six, but is there any other games that are drawing your attention?
Well, first, I'm just going to give 3 quick leans outside of college basketball. One of them goes here in 15 minutes. It's disgusting as could be, kind of like the Red Wings. They're against the Sabres, just played the Sabres on Tuesday. They got blown out 7-3, just ugly, gross game. That was in Buffalo. This one's at home. They've lost like 7 in a row. They're plus 105 at home money line before they head to Pittsburgh. Need every win they can get after just being embarrassed by the same team. Think they find a way to get it done. It's just so gross, but I like them. NBA, I like the Blazers plus the points, and I think my favorite NBA play of the day is Minnesota minus 8.5. Oof, that was 7.5, but like Minnesota quite a bit. And then really the last thing I was looking at in college basketball is I see South Florida is like the most public bet team on the day in college hoops, so that would automatically point me towards UAB. Also, UAB, did they win the NIT last year or the CBA, one of those tournaments?
I have no idea.
I think they went because remember, wasn't CUSA like? Oh no, they're the American. I think they went really far. I remember. I'll have to look that up, but I think UAB won one of the tournaments last year, or at least made the finals. So I think they're kind of hungry to try to make some noise in the big dance.
Yeah, I love that. I am going to be taking the Red Wings as well. They can't keep losing, so especially at home, and the Sabres just aren't good. So I like Detroit in that. I will tweet out my plays. I'm starting to, as we're talking here, I'm starting to put them in on my on DraftKings. So I will be tweeting out my plays. My Twitter username is Worst Bets. Ethan's is eBainbridge26. Same thing right above or right below our icons here. Yeah, make sure you do follow us over on Twitter. We'll tweet out our plays every single day. Stay tuned for some March Madness content. Again, we probably won't have as much game predictions, but maybe we'll run through each region, stuff like that ahead of the tournament. Selection Sunday is tomorrow. We will have multiple sources of bracket challenges. I think we'll have a couple on a couple different sites, so stay tuned for those. Cash prizes and possibly merch prizes as well. And that's kind of all I got. Make sure you use Sharps. Use our code BET269, BETT269. You can follow us on Sharps. Get all of our official plays over there as well if you're not on Twitter. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're almost at 600 on YouTube. Would like to get there pretty soon. So, yeah, please subscribe. We appreciate it. And then do you have anything else before we wrap up here?
Just to confirm, UAB did lose in the NIT championship to North Texas last year. So almost had that win. Yeah, like UAB today. But no, guys, thanks for tuning in. Good luck navigating today and tomorrow. And then can't wait for next week.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest times in sports. So if you need any basketball knowledge or lack of knowledge, come over here and we're glad to have you guys. We'll be back live on Monday. And then potentially we'll have a couple of YouTube videos out on getting technical of college basketball. But I appreciate you guys. Good luck today and happy March Madness. See ya.
See you guys.